Go ahead, Grace.
So I'm really concerned that folks know that at this time of year when we're supposed to be caring about each other, that the state of Massachusetts has invalidly cut off around 10,000 households from their food stamps. They invalidated people's cards so that people can't get food stamps that they have jumped through all the hoops and proven they have a right to. The governor is not reacting as if this is a crisis, and we can only figure out that folks who haven't gone without food don't understand how serious this is. Folks are now at the point where they're reaching the 2-week mark of not having had their food, and people are running out of options. They might have used a pantry or some food programs, but literally one of our members, one of our network of folks who's been down at the welfare office in Worcester on Thursday found that there were people there who had not only used up all the friends that were willing to have them stay for a meal, but now they were visiting relatives of friends who they didn't even know to ask for food. Folks with little kids, a woman who's 80 pounds because she's slowly dying from a disease. They're about to put her on dialysis because her kidneys are almost completely failed, and she has been without food for almost 2 weeks. She's been down to the welfare office 4 times, and they can't fix it. And we find this the most immoral outrage at this time of year. The fact that, the feds are going to cut people's unemployment benefits right after Christmas is going to create another crisis. But this is a very immediate need, and I assure you that if we had photos on TV from a third world country, people would be like, what's wrong with that government? We need to ask what's wrong with our government, and why, when they now know that there's a problem that's this widespread and this serious, that they haven't taken emergency measures to get people food. You should be able at this point to show up with a food stamp card that was valid 2 weeks ago and be able to say, I believe that I was illegally turned off and I need food. Vendors can paper charge for those purchases, and they should be doing it, and our government should be authorizing them to do it.
So is this the result of the October cuts, or is this?
No, this is completely separate. It has nothing to do with the federal cuts. It has to do with a change in what the cards are supposed to have on them for people who get their food stamps through a card. That's how you get your food stamps these days. The state made a change. They decided to implement it December 1st. And it's another one of these big computer systems with huge glitches, and they don't seem to care. It's not like, oh, you're going to get your package 2 days later because the computer system failed, right? This is basic food necessities.
So these are people who are eligible, but
Yes.
there's a bureaucratic snafu,
Yes.
a computer glitch or a problem, and then they're just not able to utilize their cards.
Right, their card has been deactivated incorrectly, and it's around 10,000 households so far across the state. There may be more. It's confused the vendors who don't now know which card to honor or not, so there are people getting turned away who may even have valid cards. So it's the gravity of food, right? Human beings can't go without food for more than 3 or 4 days without having significant health consequences. You and I are standing on the street here shivering because we're cold. If you're potentially facing hypothermia at the same time that you're doing without food, the pace at which you can have serious health damages is huge, and people who are disabled, people who are dying, kids are going without food right now, and it's a crisis that needs to be addressed.
And who should we be calling? And
We should be calling the governor and insisting that he take emergency measures now, that we don't care if they think they've got a way to figure it out over the next several weeks. Food can't wait. They need an emergency solution now, and then they'll have enough time to figure out their computer mess. But people's governmental computer snafu should not be denying people their basic food. And the USDA has actually taken a unique measure, which is to send a letter to the state telling them to stop implementing this plan right away, reactivate everybody's cards. And that's very unusual for the federal government to tell the state that they need to clean up their act. So that's how serious it is.
Thank you, Grace.